Hello, Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, and of course, LinkedIn. Not sure if I said LinkedIn. Clearly, I need to get more coffee. Just had a cup. Hasn't quite hit, obviously. But hope you're having a great Monday. Today is November 1st, also known as All Souls Day, um, and All Saints Day. I'm sorry. All Saints Day. and a new month, one of only two left in 2021. Can you believe it that the year's gone this fast? What's interesting is how dynamic this year has been for me personally. Started the year at Microsoft, left Microsoft in April, started another job at a company. Things really didn't work out there. And hey, Robin, how's it going? And now I'm at Covers, and that's been fun. That's been a great gig, actually. Last week I was at a conference, AFCEA, basically a Air Force sponsored conference talking about the importance of security and data lakes and that sort of thing. I was at the actually I streamed live from one morning from the hotel next door on from Baltimore with my dapper little suit. Not as dapper today. I'm in a hoodie. Hey, Robin, how's it going? Hope things are going well. What's new in your world? So what's interesting, so it's been an interesting year, and who would have thought that at the beginning of this year that Facebook would be willing to change their name? Um, I, I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that. I mean, I was suspected eventually that they would do what Google did, kind of create a parent company and that sort of thing. But the where I didn't see Facebook going was to the metaverse or Meta. The memes around these are hilarious. There's one with him holding a block of feta cheese, call it feta. The memes lately have been particularly. It sounds like Dr. Evil. Right? Particularly. When I was particularly insolent, I was placed in a burlap bag. It's a Monday, right? Monday, it's almost 5 o'clock. The workday's almost over. I'm a little bit punchy. Meta world peace. I love it. I love it. I actually got one of these, and another thing I would not have thought, because I've been a big fan of kind of VR and ML for a while, but it still always felt like a solution looking for, a solution looking for a problem. And I think there's still a little bit of that, but it's a lot closer now than I think it ever has been. Well, first off, I would never have spent more than the $300 it takes to get an Oculus headset, realistically, just to play around with it. Now, if I get into developing and stuff like that, I might change my tune. But data and metadata, that's actually another meaning, isn't it, for kind of what they do? Because Facebook, their product, we are the product, the users are the product. And if they can't mine the data, they certainly mine the metadata. Metadata is, that's a good point. So one of the things that I do have in the works is a third podcast about kind of virtual reality and stuff like that. Because mostly I see the kids. The kids are just obsessed with Roblox. And if you've not seen Roblox, if you don't have kids, if you have kids under between a certain age, you've heard of Roblox. If you haven't, it's basically this open world gaming environment, very similar to what you would see in Minecraft. But it's gone meta, if you will. That seems to be the word of the day. Meta Monday. How about that for a stream show? Meta Monday. Yes, the meme of Data from Star Trek. Do you mean the meme where like it's him? Like it's Mark Zuckerberg looking like Data? I've seen those too. Those are pretty funny. But ultimately, metadata tells a pretty good story in and of itself. You don't need to have the data. You just need to know just kind of the basics about the data. and that tells a pretty good story. So I've been playing around with this quite a bit. Not as much the last week or two, but I'm convinced that this is coming. Like this is metadata Monday. I'm convinced that we're just on the cusp of this being a mainstream technology. Now, obviously, Facebook seems to think that too. I really think we are, because the technology has gotten to the point. The technology is Mark Zuckerberg. Meme of data. Oh, that Mark Zuckerberg is data from. I've seen that where like there's like a meme like I want to do this so I can get my data and my dad or something like that. And it was just pretty funny. But the and don't feel bad for the memes of Mark Zuckerberg. I'm pretty sure he's laughing all the way to the bank. But I think that there's definitely something there. Now, what that there looks like, I can say as a user of the technology, not quite a developer yet, although I do have my Oculus developer account. It's a little clunky in some ways. Like, yeah, it reminds me of, I don't have my backpack here, but it reminds me of when I was first messing around with Windows, the little iPAQs, right? The little compact, the handheld. It was called Windows Mobile, I think it was called, or Windows CE, if you want to go further back. The idea is there. The seed is there, if you will, but the it's not quite developed yet. I don't know if that makes sense. Go back to MP3 players, right before the iPod. MP3 players were around a few years for the iPod, and they were good, but they were a little clunky. I mean, you had to know what you were doing. You had to know what MP3 was. What I think that the metaverse, or virtual reality, augmented reality world needs is something like what Apple did for MP3 players, right? Or another example, what Apple did with tablets, right? Tablet PCs are not a new concept. I was writing tablet or pen-based computing, or whatever you want to call it, years before the iPad, years before the iPhone came out, before the iPad came out. Can't talk today. But what really made it work was the App Store, the ecosystem, the tight kind of hardware around it. Maybe that's Facebook's play. Maybe that's their play. Maybe the play is to create that type of App Store environment. I don't know. I could totally see that happening. Voice recognition, right? Been around a long time before Alexa, right? But what makes Alexa special? Well, I think she overheard me. What makes Alexa special, right? It's the connection to the services and kind of the ecosystem around it, or the user experience, right? Or both. Like that's really part of the user experience. I'm thinking of stuff as I talk, which means the coffee is finally kicking in. Coffee is finally kicking in. I have a Keurig machine, and I saw somebody ask, but for some reason it's not showing in the chat. I have a Keurig machine, and I really love the Mods coffee. I get it on Amazon, and they have like this variety pack. It's awesome. My favorite is the espresso yourself, French roast from the coast, and whatever is in number 4. I forget. That's what I just had. Some of it's double strength, some of it's not. So the double strength coffee will knock you, give you a good kick in the boots. Wait, you know what I mean. But I have to say it's one of those technologies that I think it's not perfect. This is probably a bit like the iPod first generation. It's not perfect, but it's better than anything else that's out there. And I know I'm going to get the hate mail when I say the Oculus Rift 2 is better. Is it better from a performance point of view? I don't know. I mean, because I can apparently plug it into my computer, and I can do fancier things with that. Run more powerful games. It is fairly low powered, but it's $300. What do you want? $300. It's cheap enough. I'm okay with my kids using it as long as I'm watching them. And it's for me, it's just fascinating to see these worlds get created. So as a user, there's a couple of things I've noticed that I enjoyed more than I thought I would. One is the YouTube 360-degree videos, right? Which is basically somebody has a special camera. And if anyone out there has a recommendation for a 360 camera, um, let me know. Let me know in the comments and whatever platform you're watching this on. But I would say it's just cool because you can, there was a tour of old downtown. Is at Havana, right? Like, just guy just had a 360 camera. He was walking through, showed the church, showed the fort, all that sort of stuff. And there was another one that was really cool. There was actually two in the Alps. One was kind of like this airplane in the Alps, and they were flying through. And there was another one where these guys did the wingsuit, where they have like flying squirrel suits or whatever, where they parachuted down through the Alps, and that was really cool. Like, you can just feel the adrenaline, like, whoa, I feel like I'm here, and that's the sort of thing I think is an advantage. Another one is called Noda, I believe. It's an app where you kind of do brainstorming. I've shared a few screenshots and things like that when I was kind of planning out what all these podcasts that I'm doing and kind of the content management system underneath it. Um, you know, I was kind of came up with a mind map in 3D space. Now, is it a little clunky? Yeah, I mean, it's a little clunky, but just the fact I can kind of have this blank world, this blank space where I can put forth my ideas, I think is pretty impactful. I will also say that one of the cooler things is the home screen that you have. They have these various home screen environments. And, when it was the middle of the summer, I got it in August, right? So it was in the middle of August or whatever, and it was like really hot here in DC. I would go into the ski chalet simulation. And I know it sounds ridiculous. It just felt like it was, cooler. Like, I know it's totally bogus, but it just felt very real. Um, and another thing that was interesting that I didn't expect was there's this, I guess it's kind of interactive fiction. It's not really interactive. It's more like a comic book where you're inside the story. So, like, they'll have something, you know, the voiceover was saying what's happening, and you can kind of look around the environment. A great example of this was the Apollo 11 experience, where basically you start off, you can go around the moon. You're in the capsule as they land. You can watch Neil Armstrong get off the moon lander. You can, if you have an area that's big enough, you can actually walk up to him and kind of look around. And it's just that kind of immersive experience. And, they use that term a lot when Windows 8 came out, immersive applications. And I think that was overused because basically what it meant is took over the whole screen, which I guess is valid. But when I think immersive, I think kind of that VR experience. But I mean, if you're just doing history and stuff like that, and tourism, well, not tourism, but you know what I mean, where I can go, particularly in a pandemic, go around and explore these spaces, I think there's something to that. What's interesting is what's not I found very useful was kind of the interactive chat apps. We go around and talk with other people and stuff like that. I have not really found that to translate very well. Um, I'm not sure exactly how. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but for me, it's all about the gestalt, right? That whole experience where you are exploring a space that's not there, but it feels like you're there. And I haven't seen the whole Mark Zuckerberg video where he's introducing the metaverse and things like that. I suspect that I've seen a lot of meme parodies from it, but I mean, ultimately, I think I think that this is not going to be a mimic of reality. I think this is going to be a different type of thing. Now, I want to make sure that I'm separating the idea of augmented reality from virtual reality. Augmented reality, I think, is going to be a big deal because you can look at things and kind of have like a little pop up, about like next to it and things like that. I think that is going to be a different space. I think they're going to diverge. I mean, they already are different, but I think that there's definitely going to be some. I think it's a growth market. I think it's fascinating. I think that we're on the cusp of somebody putting out that first iPod, that first iPhone, that first, iPad, that type of experience moment where it clicks and everyone gets it and everybody wants it. Um, just like the cell phones. Cell phones were around for many years. Smartphones were around for, I mean, I saw my first true, honest to God smartphone was the Palm 7. Now, strictly speaking, it wasn't a phone, but it did have a data connection, a little antenna, in the late 90s. And it was 2007 that the iPhone came out. It's one of those things where there's always these kind of, I don't want to say long tails, but long noses, I guess, where there's always these kind of these fringe bits of technology, and it takes somebody who is very innovative to kind of make it work and capture that lightning in the bottle. But maybe we're at that moment. I don't know. I don't think it's the Oculus Rift 2. I love it. I recommend getting one if you can, if you're interested in exploring the space, but I don't think this is it. I think we're close, but I don't think we're there yet. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hopefully you had a great Halloween. As always, I have get back into the habit of writing in my 10X journal. Thank you, Mr. Grant Cardone, for creating that. You have a fantastic day and, of course, week. All right. Fancy graphics time. 1, 2, 3.